That's why the war part of it is so important to the title, because we are reacting.
Could write it your way, write it their way, and they still wouldn't feel it. Don't give a fuck about your opinions, only write what I'm feeling. If it's a jewel, I'm selfish with it, from my soul to my spirit. I write the shit that's on my heart, y'all got the nerve to call lyrics. But contradictive, did I mention niggas wanna hit spitting? Don't got a lot of shit recorded, but a whole lot written. I heard the plan and that's your man's, but ain't a whole lot different. I say I got the fucking answer, nigga. Wait for the serum, my problem first was in my verse. Left it through logic decision. Rapped about shit I never seen, or just smoking and chilling. I could've chose to tell the truth, but lies have been more appealing. And then I chose to hold it back with a selfish decision. Nigga, how dare you for your second efforts, one of you lost. You paid all of your fucking dues.
Alright, so now I like to just, say some tracks that I like, some tracks that, I really felt. And I would just want you to, break down the messages of the tracks, what was the meaning, and basically, talk about the creative process behind the tracks. Alright, so, Child Of, why did this have to be the track to start the project? Why was this the first track on the album?
Child Of is the first track on the album, and not even Child Of, it's Child Of the Understanding, and that's the big picture behind it, just for you to get an introduction to me, you know what I'm saying? And that's my statement. I always consider myself a poet too, and I don't feel like a poet necessarily, raps as much as they make statements. So that was my statement, and it was my introduction to me and who I am.
Alright, and what was the deep message behind it? What is the understanding part of it?
The understanding is actually, it comes from my 5% of studies. So that's the nation of the gods and earths. For those who are not familiar, you can Google or look that up. But that actually comes from, my nation studies, and just understanding that. And the nation is real simple. It means 1 + 2 = 3, in the same way that wisdom plus knowledge equals understanding, or in the same way that man plus woman equals child. So the number 3 actually represents understanding, and it represents a child. So I feel like when I look at myself and I can sum myself up in a few words, in a few ways, that's who I am, a child of understanding.
So what about Righteous Roots? Because I really want to know more about who was the woman singing in the song, because she had a beautiful voice.
Alrighty. Okay, so the female singing, that's, first of all, that's Divinity the Poetess, and she coincides with inside of my message. So that's to say that, the first part of Righteous Roots is my message, as the same as the second part is hers. So I mean, it's just a good coincidence of what I'm grasping in my first message, and that's pretty much what you can take from Divinity the Poetess.
And what was your mentality when making the Righteous Roots track?
My mentality was conscious, and that's funny that I say that. And I don't mean conscious in the way I made it or what I'm talking about. I mean more conscious in the way it sounds. That's the first track. So I wanted to make my first track a real eye opener and a real meaningful track, and so that's what I did. I made Righteous Roots my eye opener.
Alright, now what about that 7 rendezvous?
7 rendezvous.
7 rendezvous?
Yeah, so 7 rendezvous is pretty much, it's about a meeting. So I mean, you can picture it like this: a rendezvous is a get together, and 7 means gods. So my my little brother, that's Yeshua Young, you know what I'm saying? That's my brother. I also want y'all to follow him on Twitter, at Yeshua Young. But 7 rendezvous is pretty much about 2 gods getting together, and what happens when two gods collide, for a righteous cause. And that's pretty much all this to 7 rendezvous.
Alright, bet. Alright, now what about this one? Because I ain't gonna lie, this is my favorite track on the album. Got Problem Number 13. Write it your way, write it their way, and they still won't listen. Man, it's a powerful track. Tell us about it.
Okay, I appreciate that, bro. The problem number 13 is actually a track I wrote for my brothers. Because in my writing process, you know, and just throughout my time of making music, my older brothers always, you know, they never knew I made music. Like, I sort of told them here and there, or they would always see me working on something, you know. So the problem number 13 was sort of a track, you know, in between the time that they took and had talks to motivate me. It was just one of those tracks that I wrote as an ode to them, because, you know, when I had nothing to show for them, like when I had nothing to show them whatsoever, I would think about those, you know, those type of thoughts, and those thoughts kept me sharp throughout my writing process. So the problem number 13 is about a song, and it's really about the whole gist of that song is about just pretty much everything that was in my head that my brothers were telling me for right or for wrong. Just like I remember having a altercation with my older brother, and he told me, like, man, you got all of this stuff that you say you writing, but, you know, where it's at. And that's what, you know, brung the line that I got a lot of shit recorded, but a whole lot, you know, not a lot of shit recorded, but a whole lot written. You know, and that was to just speak for my artistry and, you know, where I was at as a person, because I wasn't comfortable as an artist yet. So the problem number 13 is, you know, probably even more than that, just a song, you know. It's probably more of a confession just to myself, pretty much, too, about everything that I had on my mind and everything that they told me.
Alright, now next, what about this BAG track? Because it's listed on the track list like an acronym.
Right. Okay, so yes, it's B.A.G. and B.A.G. is actually even how it's spelled. Yes, it's the B.A.G. But not to be a G on no type of, you know, gang banging level or nothing. It's actually a track about positivity. So when I speak about, you know, being a G, I speak about being a you know, being created in His image is to be, you know, a God. So that's pretty much the vision that I'm trying to portray. Even with that, you know, is to just be a God of yourself. And, you know, even with what I talk about in that song is my, you know, my journey into being the man that I become today, because, you know, it took experiences to get me to this point. And so that's what I mean. You have to find your experiences and walk your path in order to be a God of yourself. And so that song is really about empowering yourself, you know, to be better and to be a God of your own journey and, you know, your life.
So what about that master plan track? What's the master plan?
That's my favorite. So the master plan is sort of a sum up, you know, but it's also my favorite song for the reasons that, I mean, one way or another, how you see it, the master plan is another one of my statements. But it's actually, you know, everything that I've been doing in order to make this. So it's really sort of the master plan of the W.A.R Oracle.
Alright, now what about No Place to Go But Home? Break down this track, why you decided to end the project with this.
I decided to end the project with No Place to Go But Home for pretty much the sole reason of why I opened the tape and, you know, letting you get an introduction to who I am. I sort of, you know, in a metaphorical sense, after listening to my tape, you sort of get a gist of who I am and maybe even learn something about yourself. And so pretty much when you think about No Place to Go But Home, it's a metaphor for, you know, traveling on that journey to find yourself and to come to grips with the fact that maybe everything that you've been searching for as far as your journey and, you know, to find yourself may be at home, you know, just in the comfort of your home and in the comfort of your family. You might find more about yourself than you ever knew. And that's why it's No Place to Go But Home. And that's my final, you know, my final message on the tape, is because that's what I want to leave people with, you know, positivity. And
Alright, so, you know, we got history. I know you a while. We went to the same high school. Yeah. So I know you've been working on the actual, like, W.A.R for a minute. Like, I remember your first concept art that you showed me.
Yeah.
And it changed a lot. But I noticed the track came out recently that had that art on it. You know, can you please explain to people what the color purple is and why it wasn't put onto the album?
Yeah, The Color Purple is a track I recently just dropped maybe a week ago from today, actually. And I dropped it maybe, you know, like probably last Sunday, like I said. And, you know, I mean, there's no real, you know, I would say deep meaning to why I dropped it. I just woke up this morning and, you know, that morning I reminded myself of a time when I was nervous to let people hear my material. And, you know, I just guess the confidence in me and the, you know, the freeness of having the control of my own music just allowed me to feel good enough to drop it. And the reason that it didn't make the project is because it's an old track. Like, I probably recorded that track in like 2013 in like October, because that's around the time where I was recording the first W.A.R. You know, I was recording in like October, and, you know, the fall of 2013. So the reason it just didn't make it is because I had all of this new material, and I just felt like concept-wise it didn't fit as much.
So I'm sure you had like other music from back then too, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So what are your plans for like that other music that you got from way back then that you got like sitting around?
Man, you kind of put me on the spot with asking it. But man, pretty much for me, I gotta say at this time, you'll never know, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So it's a possibility that I could, you know.
You think your old music still compete with your music today?
Not a chance.
Not either.
Not a chance.
Oh, you done got better at your craft.
I would say that I sharpened my blade, man.
Was your flow different back then?
Nope. It was the same cadence and the same flow maybe that I write about, but my content got better, and that's why I say I sharpened my blade. I got, you know, more mature. I got smarter. I experienced a lot more. You know, I lost my mom. I had been through some, you know, some more things that had made me a more mature artist. So.
Niggas better come legit with a defense from my tool. I suggest keeping your cool, for they reminisce over you like CL Smooth. Fresh out of hell school, how I came to erase all my ties. I spent some time on one knee, praying up to the skies, but wisdom told a nigga rise. When I found my uprise, the true peace and hearted lies, right next to death and demise. Two thin lines, cutting slices, could divide all the past. You search for truth, then look no further than the pupils of eyes. The root of evil motivation, money covered in lies. Some niggas wanted war with maize, but wore a clever disguise. Fort fucking with the God, better aim and duck for cover, right? Crusading with Juice Maisley, this is Rip a motherfucker night. Pieces of a man, my raps and poems seem to puzzle life. Sweeping up the pieces like forces of kinesis. My astral plane is like a thesis, beginning with Genesis and carry on. I'm lost like Gil Heron, trying to find my way home. I see a path set in stone, smoking mirrors is gone. Nothing left except my stress and all my talented songs. I hope it paid to be the maze and not a shadow beyond. Oh, the Binga ain't the only one they slave, that's a beast. The simple rage of oneself made me go on this feast. My nigga never fear me, fear the shit that I speak. My chosen words know no boundaries like intruding police. My rhyme style is hella real like the fingertip feel. You might get screwed up in the city where they call it a drill. No many methods with a weapon, scores is just like a kill. You can't be lacking while it's cracking or your cap could get peeled. One identified body as the casket was sealed. Remain untitled, that's cause baby mother, how does it feel? Lost on my will, ask me still, am I keeping my faith? That's all I got besides these rocks and all my wisdom is base. I sit and wait cause they say patience is the virtue of faith. I'm trying to feed my fellow man, they rather let us see cake. So I write flows that deserve a golden globe like a cinema. My God squad put in God mode and put it India. When it's said and done, they ask me how they gon' remember ya. I say just like a prophet, like a goddamn minister. On my soul, on my soul.